So I'm sure this is like the 500th Verity explanation guide. I wanted to make one specifically for the challenge, um, because uh, the first couple times that my team ran into it, we kind of just did like a random strategy, and it kind of just like worked for us. But when we went into Master, we found out things about the fight, which maybe other people have already like kind of understood for weeks at this point, but it's something that we never really had to know, but we had figured out on our master runs, and I kind of wanted to get this information out to help other teams. Um, I know this is like 6 days late, but I imagine there's people who just didn't do it this week because they're just going to do it next week with all the challenges up. So hopefully this makes things easier for you. So what you need to know is for the first and third rounds, you are doing normal Verity. Whatever strategy your team is using, you are doing just normal Verity for first and third rounds. Second one is where things get weird. So let's go through a trial run. Let's say uh, people go inside, and the callout is square, circle, triangle. Okay? Now, first thing you want to do, someone in your fire team should scramble these. The way we scramble them is we go alphabetically. So circle becomes square, square becomes triangle, and triangle becomes circle. This will be important later, but it is something that you should try to keep in mind. So let's just draw the initial layout of how this fight is going. Everyone spawns with at least one of their own shapes, and for this one, let's just assume everyone has a different shape. So everyone has different shapes. So the end goal, and I'm going to draw these in as arrows here, is that everyone is trying to get a key made out of two shapes that are not their initial shape. So normal Verity, the square person would want like triangle and circle to get out. But the thing that has been discovered with the challenge is that you can also just leave with two of the same shape. So square could leave with double triangle or double circle. It doesn't matter, right? So this could even be circle, triangle, square. Like, you could do either of these if you wanted, but someone just needs to make a judgment call and just pick one. So square is trying to make a triangle key to get out. Circle is trying to make a square key to get out. And triangle is trying to make a circle key to get out. So the one thing that I think is still confusing people about this fight, and it's because it's something that you don't really need to engage with if you just follow like the normal strategies, is the shadow mechanic. So sometimes when you wipe, you'll notice that one of the columns on there is like shadows cleared or shadows cleansed, and you might be like, what the hell does that even mean? So when you're in the room, you'll see your three statues. So if you're the square person, you'll see your statue is holding square. You'll see the middle statue is holding a circle, and you'll see the right person is holding a triangle. The shapes that are being held in the statue's hands are the shadows. And one of the requirements for progressing the fight is you need to cleanse the shadows out of your teammates' hands. So as the square person, it's fine that your statue is holding a square, but you are trying to get the middle statue to not be holding a circle anymore, and you're trying to get the right statue to not be holding a triangle anymore. So I'm going to represent that with the shapes that are above. So you were trying to cleanse the shadows out of your teammates' hands. So how do the shadows get cleansed? Well, the shadows get cleansed when you get traded those shapes. And I believe it does not matter who they come from. So for example, in this setup, the guy in the middle could just send you a circle and a triangle, and it should cleanse both of your shadows. Um, but you won't have to worry about that because this method doesn't follow that. So what do we initially have to do here? So the method that my team has been using is you should try to get your shape as a drop first. So square person should be trying to get square as their first trade. You do not have to do it this way, but it is a lot simpler to do it this way. Um, if you make it, if you pick up the other shape first, then you kind of have to do a little bit of thinking ahead before you dunk it. If you just grab your shape first, you already know where it has to go, so you just dunk it there, and then you dunk the other shape in the other one. So how do you know where to dunk it? So square person picks up square. And you're thinking, okay, who do I trade it to? Well, you know that middle, because of this call out, you know that middle eventually wants two squares to make his key. However, because of the shadow mechanic, in this setup, you are the only person that can send the triangle person a square to cleanse their shadow. So, the rule is you grab your shape, you see who eventually needs your shape to make their key, and you send it off to the other person. So, as the square person, you see that middle eventually needs a square, so you're going to send it right instead. And that is going to cleanse triangle person's shadow. So, the circle person, you know that right eventually needs a circle, but not right now. So you're going to trade your circle off to the left. And that is going to cleanse left person's circle shadow. And then for the right person, you know that left eventually needs your triangle, but he doesn't need it right now. So you're going to trade your triangle off to mid. And that is going to cleanse mid's other shadow, or triangle shadow. So now at this point, you might think, oh, well, why don't we just use these shapes to escape with? Two reasons. One, if you call it at this point, your dissector has been working off of this order the whole time, and now you've just completely screwed them up, and now they have to pivot to making these keys. But also, you can't even do that because you'll notice no one got their shadows cleansed yet because no one was sent the other shadow shape that they need. So, two different avenues for why this is not the way to do it. So, you take your other shape and you just send it off to the person you didn't trade to. Right? So square sent his square off to the right, so now he's sending a circle off to the mid. Circle person, he sent his circle off left, so now the triangle is being traded right. And then triangle person, he sent his triangle mid, so now square is going to the left. At this point, the witness will recognize you, and he will kill everyone, and you'll do ghost phase, and then when you come back alive, here is the setup you have. At this point, once everyone has done their initial two trades, ignore this and use this instead. So now the new order is left is the triangle person, because again, he's trying to make a triangle key to leave. Square or circle is the square person, because he's trying to make a square key to leave. And triangle person is circle, because he's trying to make a circle key to leave. So at this point, everyone sends their shapes off to the person who needs them. So we know that left needs triangles. So mid and right say, okay, well, I'm going to send my triangles off. And then the triangle shadow gets cleansed because he was traded triangles, and he has his two triangles for his key, so now square is good. So now square and triangle say, okay, well, this guy needs our square. Cool. Square shadow gets cleansed, he has his two shapes he needs for his key, he's good. And then circle gets traded off here. Circle shadow gets cleansed, he has his key, everyone is good. So again, just to kind of go through it again, we're going to reset back to the initial. So again, you should, for your first trade, you should try to grab whatever shape you are, and you should send it to the person. You should not send it to the person who eventually needs your shape to make your key. You should be sending it off to the other person first to cleanse their shadow. So let's go through a different round. Let's go through one where one person is perfect and the other two are not. Okay. So, as this person, well, you can't just avoid sending, the mid guy a square because you have two squares, but that's fine. So you just have to follow the rule of sending one shape off to each person. Cool. And these guys got their square shadow cleansed. And now these guys follow the rule of, okay, well, this guy does not need our triangles, so we're just going to trade triangles. And then, triangle guy, he already sent his shape off to circle, so he's going to send his other one over here. And circle guy is going to send his over here as well, because triangle doesn't need his circle, so he should trade circle over to this guy. It was kind of out of order, but this is what you would eventually end up with. And then everyone would get witnessed, or the witness would notice everyone, they would die, the ghost phase would happen, and you would come back to this. So now we're in a situation where this guy is perfect, has the wrong shapes. These two are not perfect, and they have the same shapes. So again, all you have to do, now that everyone has done their two trades, is you ignore this, and you follow this. So now, triangles get sent to the left guy. Oh, I forgot to mention, this guy got his circle shadow cleansed because he got circle traded to him. So triangles get traded off to left guy. He loses his triangle shadow. He's good. He knows that the right guy needs his circles. So he's just going to send both of his circles off to the right guy. Right guy gets his shadow cleansed, and he has his key. And then right guy is going to... Oh, I should have cleansed this as well, because this guy got a triangle traded to him from this guy. So triangle sent his square off. And now everyone has their shadows cleansed, everyone has their key, and they're good to go. So yeah, this method will work with any configuration, because the main thing that you are trying to accomplish with this is you are trying to get everyone's non-key shadow cleansed first, right? So again, square is eventually going to get triangles traded to him so he can make his key. So his triangle shadow will always get cleansed no matter what. It is more important that he gets his circle shadow cleansed, which is what this method accomplishes. So again, your first trade should be your shape, and you should send it off to the person who does not need it for their key. So square would not send it mid, because mid eventually needs square, but he does not need it now. Square would send it right over to triangle, so that triangle could get his square shadow cleansed. So again, send your initial shape off to the person who doesn't need it for their key. Send your second shape off to the other person who you have not traded to. Everyone will die. Everyone will come back alive. And then you will follow whatever order that someone typed in your chat, and you will send those shapes off to that person. Even if you are double sending shapes off to the same person, it doesn't matter, because everyone will get their shadows cleansed, everyone will end up with the two shapes that they need, and as long as upstairs dissection goes good, you are free. Hopefully this made sense. Like I said, our team ran into problems on Master, and we kind of had to figure this stuff out for ourselves because we just never had to deal with the shadow mechanic. But I believe that this method should always result in all shadows being cleansed and everyone ending up with their keys. Hopefully this helps someone, and good luck on your challenges.